So other than having, I like had a cash in hand paper round when I was 12 up until the age of 16, which was great. It taught me how to get up early in the morning. It taught me how to get out, and one winter there was like ice sheets on the floor because the village flooded, and then the ice came and took over the water, and it's really like I'd fall off my bike 2 or 3 times every morning. And I had like quite a hilly route as well, but Christmases were great because I got tips, and I had like one year £450 in tips. That was the year when there was a big frost, and that all went straight into the saving up for a car, which I managed to buy when I was 17 and I was able to drive. So I've never had, I think I filled in this form because we got to do these child nursery form for the nursery hours or something, and it asked for the first, well, how long have I been self-employed, I think was the question, and the answer was April 2009, which made me think 2 years before that I was in New Zealand, so I was sort of off the UK work scene, if that makes sense, and I was on a working holiday visa, and then before that I had a job, and it was the only time I've had full-time employment, and I had it for 8 months. So technically I've only ever had a full-time job for 8 months of my entire life. Don't think I'm the average sort of normal representation of my generation, or any generation that's 17, 18, 19, and so I think that the risk here is that people who are young can put pressure on themselves here to think that they need to have their shit together, they need to understand what they want to do with their life, that they need to be saving money, that they need to be self-employed, starting their own business, and there's all these sort of I need to be's going on. And it's also very riskful if you're, or risky if you're comparing yourself to your friends, because sometimes at that age a couple of friends can like land a great job in terms of money, and then they're working in this like job now where they're earning a little bit of cash, but that job might not make them happy in a year's time when the novelty wears off. It's just risky to be comparing yourself when you're that young, when you're going into your first job or first venture. I learned that I had to, well actually I learned this afterwards, but at the time I was just so passionate about doing what it was that I was doing that I didn't really care otherwise. I was just so stoked to be a personal trainer and to be living that life that I didn't really get too caught up in it, but I can see how it can be a big issue for people. My granddad taught me that because he was like, when you're old enough you're going to want a car, and if you haven't got money to buy a car then you're not going to have a car, and all your friends are going to have a car and you're not. So you need to learn how to so you need to learn how to save and prioritise your cash. And I think that I remember going into school and I'd be getting paid decent money at 13, 14, 15 years old, because I was earning, I think I was earning £35 a week from a paper round, which was £5 a day. I could knock that paper round out in 45 minutes, so I was earning, you know, £6.50 or £7 an hour or something like that. But it was just that one thing, so £5 a day on the paper round. I also worked in a pub for cash, washing dishes twice a week. So that was 4 or 5 hours, or whenever they needed me, they'd call me and I'd cycle in. It would take me 15 minutes to cycle there. I'd knock out some work and come back, and that was getting me about £40, £50 a week. Then I'd babysit for my cousins, and I'd have £20 cash in hand. That would be once or twice a month. So
on top of school as well?
Yeah, so I was at school, yeah. So now I'm edging into, sorry, I had one other job. So I was doing my paper round one day, and this fella pulled up alongside me in his car and said, hey, you're the paper boy, you know a lot of people in the village. I was like, yeah, I know everyone. And he was like, is there anyone that you know that could look after a garden while we go to South Africa for 6 months? And I was like, yeah, me. I was like, I'll do it. And he was like, oh really? He's like, would you? I was like, yeah. He said, what do I need to do? And he said, you need to come in once every 2 weeks on a Sunday and spend 2 or 3 hours making sure that the house is clean and safe, and keep on top of the garden. That means mow the lawns in the summer, that means clean up the leaves in the winter, do the gutters, that kind of thing. So I was like, yeah. So the guy set up a standing order, which meant that the money was just going straight into my account every 2 weeks. I would go in, check the house, like clean the garden, sweep up the leaves, and then he'd pay me, I think it was like 30 quid every 2 weeks. So all in all, I think I was earning about 300, maybe 400 pounds a month between the age of 13, 14, 15, which which was what, and that was giving me a little bit of cash to go and have some fun and enjoy myself and everything. And my parents stopped paying me pocket money, of course, because I was earning my own money, which was also a good lesson. And then the Christmas tips for the paper round, that was where the money really came in for the car. 4 Christmases later, you know, I've saved up over £1,000 worth of tips. I go and buy a car for, I think I bought a car for 1,300 quid. But I've always worked hard. I think that's the thing that I've always banked on, is that I know that I can work hard, and that's why I like to be self-employed, because I like all that to go in the places that I want it. I don't know if I'd be able to be employed again. I think it'd have to be, I think the only thing I would do is if like Manchester United came along and were like, right, we want you to come and be our coach for our players, I'd probably do that. But I don't think I'd be able to get employed. I just have too much flexibility and freedom in my own thinking that I think I'd do everyone's head in, to be honest. But yeah, it's not for everybody, and some people are better off getting a job, honestly, because it's a lonely and very difficult place sometimes, and you need to have a deep capacity for problem solving. Doesn't matter if you're running like a small sole trader job business, or you're running a business with employees and, you know, lots of responsibilities and overheads. You have to have a deep capacity for pressure, and I have got a deep capacity, and I've grown it over time, which is why I believe that you know, I probably will always be self-employed or run my own business. I hope I am, because I love it.